Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories, at least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
And from the border of liberty and prosperity and the highway to the north, this is Safety Wars Live. From the beautiful Clarkstown, New York. How's everybody doing tonight? And I think this is just going to be an audio podcast tonight. We're having issues with video. So, anyway. I don't know why it's not going on. I have no idea, but we'll see. So what's going on out there tonight? How's everybody doing? Ay. You think everything's going good, and then all of a sudden everything goes kaplooey here. All right. You know what? During one of the commercial breaks, we'll switch to video. No problem here. I think I could be able to fix it. So, how's everybody doing? I mean, it's Wednesday now. I keep on saying it's Thursday. We couldn't make it online last night. And hold on, it may be working now. Start. And it's recording. And it's going to stream. Let's see if it streams. Yes. Hold on. Here it is. Give me a second, guys. Okay, here it goes. All right, so this is going to be going on to video. So what are we? I want to give a big shout out to the safety sage, the safety mystic, Jay Allen, on the Rated R Safety Show this morning. Had some very kind words for me and this show. So, Jay, thank you. I appreciate it. We're probably going to be making a promo out of that. What else is going on? A lot going on out there today. We got a lot of news. We really haven't gone into the news a lot, so we're going to start out with OSHA news and views. And let me point out, again, if you're on the video portion of this, you're coming in a little bit late because we had some broadcast issues going on here. But not going on is that everything that we say here is off of, especially with fines, with citations, with crime, litigation, everything. Everyone's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And, all this stuff gets litigated, vacated, and everything else out there. So we're just going off of what the news is today. May change tomorrow, may have issues. You know how things are with things. So we're going to talk today about basically news and views, and we may get into some other stuff, but it's basically what we're talking about, some of the big stories out there. So we're going to go right to the OSHA press releases here with the news. So for whatever reason, they've been not issuing as many press releases the last couple of weeks. Someone must be on vacation or something. I hope that's what the situation is and nothing bad happened to anyone. So Lubbock Mayor, this is from yesterday, May 23rd, 2023. This was issued late last night. We were here on Monday, not yesterday, but here we have participants. Lubbock Mayor Payne recognizes Digging Deep in Lubbock Workshop 2023. This workshop to teach excavators homeowners safety when digging trenches and excavations. This was done in the city of Lubbock, Texas. Here you go. On May 23rd, 2023, the city of Lubbock presented the U.S. Department of Labor's OSHA and the Damage Prevention Council of Texas with a proclamation to recognize May 23rd to 24th as Deep in Lubbock Workshop 2023 days. Delivered by Mayor Trey Payne during the Digging Deep activities held at the Civic Center in Lubbock, the proclamation will raise awareness about trenching and excavation safety to different subcontractors, city employees, and private companies. The activities included instruction on how to work safely around trenches and excavations, because we've been having a lot of those situations lately. The big thing is you got to call 811 at least 3 days in advance for an excavation project. That's in Texas. Your state may differ on that. When I found out, when some of the houses I've worked on outside of work, especially if you know the previous homeowner was a do-it-yourself person, things are out there that not on, you may think, oh, well, we're going to go out and we're going to plant a tree. And, oh, you know what, that tree or that bush is going to look really nice next to that whatever. And you have an outdoor light outside. So what do people do? Oh, you start digging, and before you know it, oh, hey, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You start getting a pick or an axe, and you start whacking the ground, and before you know it, you get electrocuted or you sever a line or something like that. Back in the day, and when I say back in the day, it could be 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it was very common activity, especially for do-it-yourselfers, to do a direct burial underground, where what they would do is they dig a trench, run wire, don't put it in conduit or anything, and then bury it and everything, and don't call the building inspector to look at things or anything like that, and then before you know it, there's a problem. I know somebody in Seawarren, New Jersey, who bought a house. House is in phenomenal shape. He said, man, this is great. I don't have to do anything in the house. And guess what? The garage is already wired. So he went, for the mortgage, the homeowner inspection came in. They started looking and says, okay, look, where's this house is hooked up? They go in the basement, they look, and the garage was hooked up through a 110 outlet. And the basement ran through a penetration through the wall, underground, into the garage. And it was like an extension cord. Wow. Well, guess what? They got some that had to be fixed. So it was like the first thing that they had fixed. And it's primarily with electrical I see this happening. With gas, what happens is, and it happened to a family member of mine, they needed a sewer line replaced. What do you think happened? I wasn't home. I made sure I wasn't home when this happened. But I said, you called 811, guys? Yeah, we called 811. We know where everything is. Blah, blah, blah. They hit the gas line for the house twice. Not once, twice. Then they hit it a third time, and the city issued a stop work order. It was great. I mean, you can't make this shit up. Pardon my French. I know, I was told I got to watch on profanity here. But you can't make this up. It's like, Jim, these stories that you tell, how could they be true? They are true, every one of them. I might change a little detail here or there, but they're all true. And that stuff like that happens. Very rarely do you find something worth any value in this stuff, right? And, digging things around and everything else. Very rarely. You would think, oh, we're going to bury treasure. I remember what toddlers do. I go looking at my hobby collection for coins. I have a couple of dollars in there, like the old $1 coins, the Eisenhower dollars, right? The big ones. Right, I have them and everything. One day they're on my desk, and then one day they're not there, and I'm like, where the heck are they? And my son was 2. He buried them in the backyard and was digging for buried treasure, pretending he found buried treasure. Thank God I found all the coins. Not that they were worth anything more than face value, but, it's a thing. Creativity there, the kids burying treasure. That normally doesn't happen out there. Every once in a while, you talk to people with metal detectors, they find stuff. But anyway, that's what's going on out there with that. So there are excavations, very important out there. U.S. Department of Labor offers a webinar for grantee applicants for federal grants to increase workplace safety training programs. And this was today. And keep your eye on the lookout for that. There was a webinar. Let's see. Do we have a thing? No, registration is closed. Why do they issue this the day of, or the day before? So this just tells you just got to keep checking the website. They have a link on the news section to materials with the Susan Harwood grants. Goes to show you got to read this. U.S. Department of Labor announces more than $12 million in grant funding available for worker safety and health and safety grants. The U.S. Department of Labor today announced the availability of more than $12.7 million in funding to make more good jobs available to the U.S. workforce by supporting training activities and training initiatives designed to promote safety and health in the nation's workplace. This is related to the previous one. Administered by the department's OSHA, the Susan Harwood Training Grant Program includes funding opportunities for targeted topic training, education, materials development, and new capacity building training grants for nonprofit organizations. Now, if you go and look under the Susan Harwood program here, all of the training materials are there for free, and they're non-copyrighted, most of them. So if you're looking for cheap training materials, they're there. They're having another webinar on May 25th. That's tomorrow from 1 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or EDT, right, this time of year. And you could need to register for the webinar. So if you want a grant, there's good things and bad things about a grant with that. So you're not making money per se unless you do it through the grant. You're able to pay people depending on how that is and how that's set up. But, it's mainly for NGOs, and NGOs are usually not for-profit things. But I'm not, on that end. 9, now, we haven't heard from them, and I was wondering, man, I haven't heard from them in a month. Anything about them. And again, they are innocent until proven guilty. 9 inspections. Right? This is from May 23rd, yesterday. 9 inspections in 4 states find Dollar General exposed workers to obstructed exits, fire, electrical hazards, and $3.4 million in proposed new penalties. Since 2017, there has been more than $21 million in proposed fines for this national retailer, Dollar General, after 240 inspections. My question is this. Did they piss somebody off? Is there something else going on here? What's the inside story here on all of this? I don't think so. That's not the way OSHA normally works. That's not the way they work, period, as far as I know. But these are all very low, what we call low gravity things usually. Obstructed exits, fire, electrical hazards. Okay, guess what? They're, an obstructed exit, fire, and an emergency, that could be, that's a serious thing. Someone could die over something like that, right? Blocked exits. People have died. The Triangle Shirt factory fire, one of the most famous accidents in workplace history in the United States. That was all blocked exits and locked doors and things of that nature. So it happens. So here it is. OSHA inspections at Dollar General stores commonly find aisles, emergency exits, fire extinguishers, and electrical panels blocked by stored merchandise and other materials and boxes stacked unsafely. These conditions expose employees to fire, electrical, and struck by and other hazards in violation of federal law and regulations. So we have one in Enfield, Maine. And we have, okay, I've been to Enfield, Maine. Nice little town. So here we go. You gotta love it. I know a certain way. Here we have 1910.22. The employer did not ensure that all places of employment, passageways, storerooms, service rooms, and walking and working surfaces are kept in a clean, orderly, or sanitary condition. And they have, they went into detail on this one. And they referred to previous repeat violations at other facilities where they cited them for the same thing. And it went down, it goes all the way down, and they go down to 2021 on this. So they went back 2 years with that one. $73,656. Type of violation, repeat serious. 1910.37, exit routes are not kept free and unobstructed. And they did the same thing again. They outlined this here. And you know what? I think this is going to be yanked off the internet. So I am hitting download because they did that a couple of weeks ago with another thing where they released the accident data, and it was not very nice to the company. The whole accident report they released, and it was hard with those citations. So I think that this is probably going to get yanked off the internet. So run around and get it. Exit routes are not kept free and unobstructed. With that one, they went all the way back to a whole bunch of 2022. Man, they listed all of the violations here. $98,219 for that. Really? Exit routes, right? Again, you have a teenager in there probably, or some type of other young adult. And you think they're going to know any better? No, they're doing what they're told to do, or they're doing what they think is right. And guess what? They're working under specific conditions. Now, are you going to blame the employee for this, or are you going to blame management? Well, the management, usually in my experience, is much older than the employees there. So who do you blame? You blame upper level management on this. This should not be happening. I'm sorry, guys. That's my editorial opinion here. The next one. This is just one facility. Portable fire extinguishers were not mounted, located, or identified, so they were readily accessible without subjecting employees to injuries. And again, obstructed things. You want a fire extinguisher? You need to you need immediate things. $73,656, and it goes on and on. Blocked exits, and for this one facility here, right? For this one facility here, they said the date that everything must be abated by. They have an abatement date of June 20th, and the post penalty if they don't get it is $2,200. So again, this is one facility in Maine, $321,000, $321,419 for post penalties. What's going on here? Really? And they list another one in North 6 in North Dakota, 2 in one in Ohio, 1 in Kewaunee, Wisconsin. We're going to save that because I am a member of Wisconsin group here. We're going to go, and we're going to go to commercial break here for a couple minutes, and we will come back to you.
In the professional safety community, communication and planning are just a few keys to your program's success. The question many practitioners have is, where do I start? Dr. Jay Allen, the creator of the Safety FM platform and host of the Rated R Safety Show, has built a global foundation to help you along the way. Go to safetyfm.com and listen to some of the industry's best and most involved professionals, including Blaine Hoffman with the Safety Pro, Sam Goodman with the Hop Nerd, Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant, Jim Pozell with Safety Wars, Emily Elrod with Unapologetically Bold, and many others. As individuals, we can do great things, but as a team, we become amazing. Dial into safetyfm.com today and surround yourself with a powerful force of knowledge and support.
OSHA recordables, catastrophic losses, environmental disasters. You want answers? So do I. This is Jim Pozell with Safety Wars.
That's my daddy!
Safety Wars is streaming now.
safetyfm.com.
And welcome back to the show. I just wanted to mention this. This happened this afternoon. The word was released where Tina Turner, the entertainer, the actress, in one of my favorite movies, Aunt Annie, in Road Warrior Mad Max Road Warrior 3, right, with Mel Gibson. I still, on one of the jobs, my memories of her, right, you can read, there's going to be a lot of tributes and everything, but I love that movie, Mad Max 3. They played it over and over and over again on cable when we were growing up. And we, on one project I was on, we were quoting lines with it, and we still quote lines from it on some of the projects, and some people my age, I'm dating myself, get the references, some don't. She played Aunt Annie, the head of a post-apocalyptic town in Mad Max 3, Beyond Thunderdome. And a lot of the lines in there were funny. No, bust the deal, spin the wheel, all right, was one of them. And no, I know the law. I made the law. That's another one. And very talented. She's, what was amazing with her is that she went through with Ike Turner all the problems and everything. And most of the pop stars of her era, and even in today's era, they hit 40, 45, approaching 50. They ain't popular anymore. And they may be popular with people like me. You look back at our youth, we were listening to John Bon Jovi's song at Establishment this afternoon, and I had my family in there, and I said, John Bon Jovi, he went to my high school for 1 year, St. Joseph Metuchen. Then he went to Sayreville High School. He transferred out. And we had, my father's generation had ties with the Bon Jovi family in Bayonne, New Jersey, including Adam Sambora, who was Richie Sambora, the original guitarist, right, who was the cousins of John Bon Jovi. He lived in my town. My father worked with him for close to 40 years. And I tell you what, once their early 90s, mid-90s hit around, they were started to be like in their 30s, early 40s. They all wanted to raise families and didn't hear from them for years. It had to be 15 years. And getting back to Tina Turner, let's circle around. They came back, and they really never made it as big as what they were. Were they big in New Jersey? Absolutely. Tina Turner, when everybody else's career was going down, she was able to reinvent herself. Now, I've never attended one of her concerts, but I watched them on TV back in the day, and it's like, wow, what an entertainer, what a performer. with her, with what she was doing. And she was able to reinvent herself. That was great and iconic music from the 1980s and early 1990s. Phenomenal thing. And just goes to show you her the wonders of modern medicine. She had a hypertension disorder that couldn't get resolved. She had high blood pressure, and it basically destroyed her kidneys, and she needed a double kidney transplant. And she got it, and she lived for many years after that. I mean, it's a testament. They're not mentioning what she died from, but it's a testament to modern technology and the things that we have. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, the things that are going on here. So, rest in peace, Tina. And I'll say this one. You are simply the best. Better than all the rest of your generation there. And we'll leave it at that. 83 years old. Some of the reports said 81, the earlier reports, so 83 years old. One of the, I'll add with this. I know I should be moving on with it. One of the actresses in the movie that played her said that she couldn't keep up with the moves that this woman had, the dancing moves. We're going to go over to study finds here because there are some very interesting stories that came out over the last couple of days. Now you say, well, Jim, how does this relate to safety? You're going to love this one. So this was an article by Sophia Naughton. Half of adults admit to pretending to see messes to avoid cleaning them. How does that relate to safety? How about your safety audits that are out there? You have people going out there doing safety audits, and they're, I'm not going to see that. I'm going to see nothing. I know nothing. Pull a Schultz on it. I see nothing. I know nothing. So they could avoid remediating or abating that hazard. Or, hey, that ain't nothing. Well, here you go at home. 90% of Americans say they get anxious about cleaning their room. And they procrastinate. They say, I didn't see that mess. I'm going to leave it. Try pulling that crap with my wife. It ain't going to work. No, she's going to, why didn't you do that? Well, honey, I didn't see it. Yeah, you walked right past it. So I'll admit to doing this. Now, here's another one. A third, 33%, are most likely to deep clean, disinfect, scrubbing, or cleaning hard-to-reach areas only before hosting guests. 26% only do it before a holiday, and 22% do it seasonally. That's spring cleaning. We're in the midst of a spring cleaning situation here in our beautiful Clarkstown, New York facility. While deep cleaning your home can be an overwhelming task, there's a lot you can do to make the process more enjoyable. You know what my mother used to do? We used to have an old RCA, what they called a hi-fi, high fidelity system, and she would play marching music on it because she liked marching music, okay? And dance music of her day, which was big band and everything else. That's how my mother used to clean. Maybe that makes it a little bit more enjoyable. And it's a big thing. I mean, especially in the workplace, housekeeping. We mentioned Family Dollar having a situation here with keeping up more than one facility getting whacked with close to $100,000 in a fine with that one. Especially nowadays, just buy what you need. This is what I tell everybody. Just buy what you need. If it helps when you have a central procurement place, if you can do that. If you can just buy what you need, there's no clutter. Then you don't have to store it. You don't have to worry about housekeeping or anything else. It helps in a facility, maybe one day a week, you get people in there doing a cleanup. I was at one facility, I'm not going to mention the name, where they had, it was a facility where they had repeated shutdowns over the years. Every 2 or 3 years they had a shutdown. They did a major maintenance activity. But there was a steel building on site, a big one, and some other areas where they put waste and things that they thought they could use later on and later turnarounds, and then people were in shutdowns, and people would go and retire and forget the stuff was even there. So what happened was, after about 30 or 40 years of this, they found crap all over the place. Amazing. I mean, stuff all over. I mean, stuff and junk and garbage and you name it, it was all over the place. So what they ended up doing was assigning a group of 4 or 5 people. So it was an operator with a backhoe, and it was 3 or 4 laborers that went around and cleaned everything up. It took them years to clean everything up, but to their credit, the facility went and made sure everything was cleaned up. And there are things there that they would never use, that were obsolete. Things got scrapped, and it was just junk laying around. Now, here's the other question, is the hazardous materials. Companies do this all the time with hazardous materials. I can think of a couple of school districts in the early 1990s when I was doing the early part of my career doing community right-to-know surveys, where we had people out there. We had a couple of facilities, Bridgewater Raritan School District in New Jersey being one of them, where they had kept on because of baseline budgeting, where people had to go and spend money. So because they didn't spend money, they lose in the next year's budget. They went out there and they just kept on buying more and more school supplies that they were never going to use. And they had loads of material there, loads that they were never going to get rid of. I've known of some other outfits that do the same thing. They keep on buying more and more material, never getting rid of it because it's in the budget for buying new material. And they keep everything else. Well, we're going to use this on a sunny day, on a rainy day, and never gets used to it. Now, all of a sudden, you have hazardous materials, maybe in decaying containers. Perhaps the labels get damaged. You don't know what the hell they are. People retire, people move on. Now you got yourself a mess. I know one facility, it took 7 years to get rid of all of their backlog of stuff that people bought and never used because it was stored safely. But what ended up happening was new products stored safely and expired, and they couldn't use it in their process. But what happened is it's not like you could put it out in your garbage. It's not like you're going to say to all your employees, hey, bring this home to your household hazardous waste day or anything like that, and had to get rid of on site and, the proper way. It took them about 6 or 7 years to get rid of all this stuff because they had to do it within the permit that they had, and they were able to max out the permit. They didn't illegally dump it or anything like that, and it took years to get rid of them. So what's the whole thing with this stuff? With any of this stuff, one of the keys to housekeeping is only buy what you need, right? Then it makes it easier. And keeping things orderly. And it's a constant thing at work to keep things orderly. Another one from study finds. Cases of depression in the United States reach an all-time high. The U.S. is in the midst of another Great Depression. Well, I'm going to say this much with this. I think we're being manipulated. Okay? We didn't see these issues, or maybe they weren't recognized. They were there, or they weren't recognized before social media. It's like everybody wants to be depressed a lot of times. Now, are there real places of clinical depression? Yeah. Does everyone go through the blues? Yeah. But for this level of clinical depression, right, this study finds, and this is by Joycelyn Solis Moreira, Solis Moreira, I believe that's how it's pronounced. I apologize if I didn't get it right. 29% of adults living in the U.S. have been diagnosed with depression at some point in their life. Okay, great. A rate almost 10% higher than in 2015. Or is it being recognized more? Maybe. Is it being perpetuated more by the freaking cell phones and the other electronic media? Perhaps. Because you're comparing yourself to other people on this. You're being manipulated into this. I know of a couple of families with teenagers that had horrific situations happen. I mean, I'm not going to mention what they are because they're listeners here. Horrific situations because of social media. How's this impact? That's why maybe you want to limit you. Hey, I limit my, regardless of what Jay Allen said this morning, I limit myself, right? You said it about me, I think in a joking way. I limit myself with the social media. There are some people that have an addiction to this stuff. At the end of my political career, I noticed that some people were involved in politics because they were addicted to the computer and the beginnings of social media back then, and then when we were actually building actual websites, right, in the mid-2000s. And I would have, my guess is maybe they're feeding an addiction here with all this stuff. It's not healthy. What I try to do is I pick 2 days a week. I don't go on the freaking computer, and they're usually on the weekends or a holiday weekend, something like that. 1 or 2 days. I don't even go on the computer. I do nothing. I go outside and enjoy life. I pick a, dude, is that something you do? You stop doing it? Go out for a walk. Leave the phone at home. Leave the phone in the office. Go out in the parking lot. Go on a picnic. What have you? No? Eat your lunch outside. Enjoy life. Here is the James Webb Telescope. I think this is a pretty cool thing. This, again, off of Study Finds. The James Webb Space Telescope is giving us our own first look at a galaxy 12.5 billion light years away from Earth. The galaxy, known as GS 9209, began forming some 800 million years after the Big Bang, making it the earliest galaxy discovered. Pretty cool on that one. So we covered AI last week on this program with this. I've gotten some feedback on it. Some people like it. Some people didn't like it. I really don't care at this point because I try to make. No, you have to follow the audience, what they're interested in, obvious, but you have to do what's interesting to you sometimes with this. And then with my excitement, I tried to put it on to you. Could AI replace 911 or 911? Right? New tool outperforms human diagnosing stroke victims over the phone. Should artificial intelligence handle emergency calls from humans dialing 911? If you recall, last week we mentioned that AI was able to diagnose pancreatic cancer years ahead of time. Should artificial intelligence handle emergency calls from humans dialing 911? A new AI is making the case, showing it is capable of diagnosing the signs of a stroke over the phone. This is from Study Finds, and the case is from Munich, Germany, or München, Germany, if that's my grandfather's hometown in Germany. Scientists from Denmark say the results suggest it performs better than human emergency call handlers at determining if someone is in serious medical trouble. The implementation of this new cost-effective tool can enhance stroke identification by handlers. Okay, well, that's good. How's this? I think this coupled with other technology, for example, there was years ago, I was reading articles where people were actually able to analyze people's breath and determine not only what they had for lunch, not only that they had poor dental health, but also that they had other things going on in their body, including cancer or other illnesses. So I wonder how this could be mated, this information. So what do they use? They use stroke registry and 7,000 stroke-related medical calls between 2015 and 2020. So this was like a big deal here. Okay. So right now, I'm sorry for preempting Governor DeSantis's presidential campaign launch with Elon Musk today, but oh well, tough, right? So I mean that jokingly, but a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago, I went over what goes into a presidential campaign. Go and look it up. Any of these people declaring their candidacy, you have to know. The question is, can they get on the ballot in all the states that they plan on running in? And if the answer is no, you got to think twice about supporting them. Now, are there reasons to support people if you know that they're not going to win? Yeah, there are. Because what happens is you're able to spread your message a lot easier if you have a political message, if you are a political candidate. Case in point, when I ran for office, that inspired, and this is not Jimmy for the ego boost, but there were a lot of people who ran at the same time I did, and we were credited by a lot of people as inspiring them to run for office also. And spreading the word. If you're Joe Blow on the street and you're starting to raise issues, guess what? They're going to say, well, this is a blowhard Joe Blow. Why don't you run for office? If you go out there and you say, hey, I'm running for office, and this is what I want to support, they'll be like, well, you'll never win, but I like your ideas. And you get to spread your ideas out there. With that, there were a couple of, the name escapes me now. It was the guy who litigated the Scopes monkey trial, right? There was John T. Scopes, right? And you had hold on, what was his name? The famous William Jennings Bryan. All right. So William Jennings Bryan was a perennial candidate for president, from what I recall, if I'm remembering the correct person. And people said to him, how come you keep on running for president? You're never going to win. He said, because when I go out there with my ideas, they get spread. Well, not a direct quote. They get spread. And my ideas keep on getting implemented. So that's a reason why you have that out there. So the other thing is this, with the way, and I'll add a little bit of commentary here that might seem a little bit partisan, is that right now Donald Trump is leading in all the Republican primary polls. With all his legal issues, there's an argument that's being made out there that maybe if he drops out of the race, now it's not a complete loss because you're going to have other people that are going to be on the ballot. That's one of the arguments out there. From a logistic, I'm giving you a little bit of inside baseball there. But that's what one of the arguments is. Here we have no, that's not it. No, I don't want to talk about that. Here we have one from the Sun, the U.S. Sun newspaper, and this is from this afternoon. This shocking moment, a mass brawl broke out at an airport as travelers threw punches and yanked on each other's hair. So this was someone captured a video at the baggage claim inside Chicago's O'Hare International Airport Monday night. And let's see what the story is here. The wild video has now made its rounds on social media and shows the huge fight that broke out between around a dozen people. People in Chicago Airport's Terminal 3 can be seen yanking hair, throwing punches, and jumping on the backs of other travelers. The chaos was reportedly sparked by an argument between some passengers around 11 p.m. Well, 11 p.m., nothing nice happens at airports if you're on a trapped baggage claim. Believe me, we've seen some things. You had a big group of travelers pushing each other to the ground. People hair being pulled. A group of men then jumped out onto the baggage carousel where they punched and kicked each other while others tackled one another to the ground. What was it with this? They were throwing shoes, travel pillows, everything else. I mean, it's a huge thing. Now, with all this violence going on, Chicago police confirmed in a statement that a man and a woman were arrested and charged in connection with the huge fight. And both of the people were from Illinois. What happened was a verbal dispute while deplaning escalated in the lower level of Terminal 3 when a 24-year-old female victim was punched by two offenders. And I tell you what, I'm going to say this. Are you freaking crazy? I'm looking at the camera here. Are you freaking crazy? Starting a problem in an airport? Now, this is the place where they have signs that say, do not joke around about anything. I've been in airports that don't make jokes when you're at the security thing. Meaning, you don't want to threaten that you have some forbidden material or device on you, contraband. Or, you're going to do something. Like that poor fellow who said he was going to do something in the Home Depot bathroom, and he warned everybody, and then all of a sudden, a SWAT team shows up, right? I mean, that he was going to do something in there that was going to blow the place up, And you don't want to be that person, believe me. This is a little bit of a different approach. This was in Texas. Texas lawmakers, this is from the Washington Post. The Texas lawmakers approve a bill to allow school districts to replace counselors with chaplains. This came out this afternoon. So this went through the Texas House of Republicans. What a malpropism there. The Texas House of Representatives Wednesday gave final approval to a bill to allow certain chaplains in public schools, including to replace professional counselors. The last step before the measure is signed into law. And some people are saying that this is in line with a recent Supreme Court ruling that allowed coaches to pray with their players and their athletes. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on this. We allowed chaplains into prisons, and that's another institution. Some would argue that schools are an institution, right? And that sort of thing. One institution or another. But anyway, the Senate also passed a bill to allow districts to require schools to set aside time for staff and students to pray and read religious texts. A second bill to allow public employees to engage in religious prayer and speech. This sounds like, I always used to hear, especially when I was in politics, back in the day, the good old days, where they had prayer in school, and they had this and that. And I always point out, okay, it was great having prayer in school. I grew up, right, from the 7th grade on, or prayer in school every day. I went to a Lutheran grammar school and a Catholic high school. So, what a mix there, right? And there was prayer every day. I don't think it was negative, but we're in a religious context all day, right? In the public school, this may or may not be a good idea because, guess what? Okay, let's say your religion is a religion that promotes violence. And that's your religion. Promotes hatred. Promotes bigotry. Do you want those people praying with your kids? And you say, well, Jim, that's an extremist point of view. The denomination I belong to tries to stay out of this. Where if you're going to follow a strict interpretation, we're not even, there's no ecumenical. Ecumenicalism is only allowed with other churches that we're in communion with. So there is nothing because of these issues here, and maybe this may not be a good idea on a certain level. That being said, if your child requires some type of religious instruction or religious counseling, I think that might be better. Maybe the school could allow a venue for it, right, with the parents' input and permission. But I don't know if that's a good idea if you're going to allow people of different religious backgrounds to pray, and if it's forced. If it's organic, that's one thing. But if it's forced, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Chicago monkeypox. Now we're not allowed to call it monkeypox. It's called mpox, but I'm going to call it monkeypox. Outbreak raises alarm over summer spread. A cluster of monkeypox cases in the Chicago area has spurred concerns of a resurgence this summer, mere months after the end of public health emergency for the outbreak that began last year. There was monkeypox in my neighborhood, I know, but there is the World Health Organization said it's no longer a global health emergency. Monkeypox. However, they're expecting another surge, but it's treatable. It's treatable, and there's a complete vaccination schedule with this. And it's not if they're going to let it if you let it run its course, it's a very painful thing. But anyway, see your medical provider before you seek any medical attention or vaccinations and see what they say. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. Right? And yes, okay, I tell you what, I'll say it. The gym should not give medical advice. I use that one for the umpires at the baseball games. So, Cancun is banning narco concerts as violence source. Performance by El Commandeer, Group Ferme, El Millonaro, Alamen were recently canceled in the tourist resort in an attempt to discourage drug-related violence. Crime continues to surge in the popular Mexican tourist resort city of Cancun. The local government declared that it will no longer allow concerts by some of the musicians because they promote violence. Let's see. And going on. And they mentioned some songs that I'm not familiar with. This is what I do. I do not listen to foreign language. This is one of my things. Foreign language music, unless I absolutely know what the words are. You're going to say, Jimmy, what do you mean? Again, another story. I was in Poland in 1993, August. And I went to the farm where my grandmother grew up. It's no longer a farm anymore. And my grandmother was with us, and she enjoyed herself thoroughly. And I was there got to meet my cousins and their extended family. I've kept up with one cousin. I got 2 or 3 Zoom calls a year with him, Andre, and I'm out there on the farm, and my relatives Andre wasn't doing this because he's now an English teacher in Poland, and he speaks better English than I do. And then he spoke better English than I do. And he ended up, we're out there, no, he wasn't with us, so I'm out there on the farm, and they're playing, again, they buy cassette tapes in, they buy cassette tapes in, from open air markets. And they're bootlegged and they're overdubbed and everything, and they're playing cassettes. And they were playing a song. I'm not even going to mention somewhat of a family show. I use a little bit of profanity, but it was shameful. I mean, shameful what they were saying on there. I wouldn't be embarrassed. Even by 2023 standards, it was embarrassing what was on there. And I said to my mother, and because I don't speak Polish, believe it or not, it's a Polish thing where, Polish children don't speak Polish in the United States. And I said to my mom, with her hearing issues, she can barely make and I said, she can't hear the music. My father is like, well, this is bizarre, and I said to them, I said, Mom, can you ask them if they know what they're saying on that song? And she said, I asked them, they said, well, they don't know what it means. They just like the beat. And I said, okay. I'm not going to be the one with my mother translating with different things here. No. But anyway.
Safety Wars is streaming now.
All right. Some war news here. Things, I tell you, I got 3 things here, right? On war news here. And here you go. With war news. This shit's escalating. This is escalating here. You gotta be kidding me. Cooler heads have got to prevail here with this. That is the bottom line. I mean, we had with the ammo depot blown up. There were reports that the radiation levels in the ambient radiation levels, and I'm gotta check on this, in Ukraine are going through the roof. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is here, other than we have to. There has to be cooler heads that prevail with all this stuff. Otherwise, they're going to have World War III here. Some would argue, and there's an argument, maybe we're already in World War III. This is not I don't see this ending in a good way. Wars never end up in a good way for anybody, even the people who win it. COVID still kills 1 person every 4 minutes, despite the global emergency being officially over as of May 11th of this year. So, still out there. All right, so I hope to be on the air tomorrow. We're going to do the outro here. And I want to thank everybody that's continuing to listen, who's sticking with me. I didn't really go into too deep a lot of the stuff here. Tonight, I'm hoping to do more stuff later on this week, possibly Friday, was into some real deep dives into things. But anyway, I will see you when I see you.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.